everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have used a men's t-shirt that I picked up for just a couple of pounds and turned it into a crop top with a lettuce hem and sleeves. This was such a fun project and it's definitely a big transformation, just in time for spring. So let's get into it. First, I measured how long I wanted my top to be. I wanted mine to be quite cropped, but yours doesn't need to be the same. I wanted my top to be 11 inches long, so I went with 11.5 inches, adding half an inch for seam allowance. With the t-shirt laying out flat, I used the bottom of the t-shirt as the new top edge. From the bottom of the t-shirt, I measured and marked 11.5 inches all the way along the t-shirt. I then connected these with a straight line. Once I'd done that, I cut along the line. Save the top of the t-shirt, we will need this later. Next, I needed to resize the top so it would fit me. I marked the fabric about half an inch away from my body and pinned this in place while I did the same on the other side. These 2 points are where my new side seams needed to be. From each of these points, I drew a straight line all the way down the fabric. I then cut along these lines I had just drawn. This will be the new body to my crop top. I then place these 2 pieces right sides together and pin down both sides, making sure the edges lined up. Once I'd pinned these in place, I sewed where I'd pinned. This is how it looked. I wanted my crop top to have a gathered front to make it a bit different. With the top inside out, I measured how wide my top was from the side seams. This measurement was 11 inches. I then needed to find the midpoint of my top, so I halved this measurement. I had 5.5 inches. I marked my fabric at this point. I then measured 1.5 inches down from the edge and drew a straight line to mark this. I used a piece of elastic to make the gathered front. Stretching the elastic while sewing will give a gathered look on the fabric once it is sewn in place and gone back to its normal length, like I'm showing you here. I pinned it to my fabric over the line I had drawn earlier, making sure I was only pinning through one layer of the fabric. To attach the piece of elastic, I sewed a few stitches at the top to hold it in place. Then, while making sure the needle of the sewing machine was down into my fabric, I stretched the piece of elastic and slowly sewed over it. This is how it looked once it was sewn. I now needed to hem the bottom of my crop top. With the top still inside out, I folded the bottom edge over half an inch and pinned this in place. I did this all the way around the bottom edge. I then sewed where I'd pinned. I gave the bottom of my crop top a lettuce hem. I'll leave a link below to a video I've done in the past on how to sew a lettuce hem. You can always sew a regular hem if you prefer to. This is how it looked once it was sewn. On to making the straps, which are also the sleeves on this crop top. While trying the top on, I measured over my shoulders to work out how long my straps needed to be. My measurement was 15.5 inches. I then measured from where I wanted my straps to sit on my shoulders to where I wanted it to end, making it look like a sleeve. This measurement was 6 inches. Using the top half of the original t-shirt, I cut out 2 pieces that were 16 inches long and 7 inches wide, adding seam allowance. With the wrong side of the fabric facing up, I folded one of the long edges over half an inch and pinned this in place. I did this all the way along the edge. I then repeated this for the second piece I cut out. Once everything was pinned in place, I sewed where I'd pinned. This is how it looked so far. Next, I needed to hem the other side of the straps. Again, I folded these edges over 1/2 inch and pinned them in place. I then repeated this for the second piece I cut out. I then sewed where I'd pinned. For this side of the sleeve, I wanted to sew a lettuce hem to match the bottom of the crop top. But again, you can sew a normal hem if you prefer to. I could now attach the straps to the crop top. With the top inside out and the straight edge of the strap closest to the middle of the top and the lettuce hem lining up with the side seams, I placed the strap 1/2 inch from the top edge and pinned this in place, making sure I was only pinning through one layer of the fabric. I turned the top over and repeated this for the other end of the strap. I then repeated this for the second strap. Once everything was pinned in place, I sewed where I'd pinned. When the straps were attached, the top was complete, and this is how it looked. I really liked how the finished top looked, and it's another great addition to my spring and summer wardrobe. The straps can also be worn off the shoulder to make it look like a completely different top, making it a great item to wear for multiple occasions. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.